What's up, everybody? This is Barn on 11970, and I thank you guys for watching this video. I just want to show you guys exactly where the sun is right now, and provided my camera works the way it should, I'm going to be filming the entire 25 minutes I will be sun gazing. Now, of course, before I say anything, I want to just tell people how to do this so you do it correctly, because if you do this incorrectly, you are going to damage your eyes. Okay, you always start out at the 10-second level. Now, you cannot just look at the sun at any time you want, because you will damage your eyes. What you want to do is, there are only 2 times where it is safe to sun gaze, and that is the first hour of sunrise and the last hour of sunset. There are no harmful UV ray lights in those time periods. Now, there are UV rays, but they're not harmful. Now, I know the people of the world have been conditioned to be programmed into believing that things in nature are dangerous and you should be avoiding them. Well, I'm going to prove to you that this is not the case with everything that you're told. And this is why doctors will tell you that flu shots and pills are good for you, that dentists will tell you that fluoride is good for you, that the FDA will approve things like aspartame and genetically modified foods. You know, banks will tell you how the financial system works wonderful, and the regulators all tell you everything's being done honestly, and so on and so forth. Now, you're going to notice throughout this whole video, I will not be moving my eyes, because as you saw, the sun is in that direction, and I'm staring directly at it. As you see, I'm not wearing any sunglasses, and I am not going to move away from the sun. You look directly at it. And again, you start with 10 seconds only the first day. That's all you need. What I highly recommend is, the first time you do to try this, and like I said, you have to know properly how to do this, you start at the sun's lowest point. In other words, the first few minutes after sunrise, or just as it's about to set, because it takes a little bit of getting used to. Even though I'm going to be showing you, because I'm up to 25 minutes, the first couple of seconds, as you see, your eyes will water for a couple of seconds, and then it gets used to it, and then it's just like not even looking at a light bulb. It doesn't hurt your eyes at all. So it is a little bright today. It's an absolutely clear sky, so beautiful for sun gazing. It has benefits. I know you're going to be programmed to hear from people that this is not good for you. I have been doing this for almost a year now. It's sometime this month. I don't have the exact day, but I started in May of last year. Now, you know, there are times, weather permitting, that you can't do it. You know, cloudy days, or, you know, days where it's raining. It does make it challenging. So here's how you basically do this the right way. The ultimate place to do this is at a place like where I'm at the beach. You want to be barefoot, because it makes you a better conductor of electricity. It's not mandatory, but it is the best way to go if you want to do it to the best of your ability. Now, the reason I say the beach is because you want to be on sand. Sand is the absolute best place to be. Now, obviously, if you're watching this and you're in Kansas, for example, there's not many beaches around there. So I understand in several parts of the world, you may not have that opportunity to do that. So, dirt is another good place to be. Like if you have some kind of lake, or there's some kind of river where there's a muddy kind of dirt around, that's also another way to go. Basically, what you want to do is, you want to stay away from grass, you want to stay away from concrete and wood, you want to be walking barefoot on natural earth. So, ultimately, I mean, if you have to dig up a little hole in your backyard, as long as there's dirt, just stand on that. That's the best way to go. You don't even want to be on grass, because feet can absorb chemicals. And if your grass is chemically treated, you can absorb that into your body. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you that the sun is very bad for you and it causes sun cancer. Well, unfortunately, a lot of that is not accurate. When it comes to sunscreens, a lot of what you're putting into your body is very damaging. And again, It all depends on when you are tanning. If you are tanning at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, when the UV rays are at its strongest, you are going to be bombarded by harmful UV rays. So it's like cooking, like a rotisserie chicken. You're doing the same thing to your skin. So if you'll notice on my face, and I've said this in previous videos, and I'm just going to switch hands because my hand's getting a little tired, but you notice my eyes haven't moved. You'll notice I have no freckles on my face, and I also have no burn, not even a tan. Because again, like I've said, when you do it only at sunrise and sunset, you will be in a safe zone. And again, I'm just going to show you where the sun is, so you could see that I haven't turned away. Now, you don't need sunglasses. If you do wear glasses or contacts, you do want to keep them in. And again, you start out with 10 seconds for the first day, and that's it. You can either do sunrise or sunset. It doesn't really matter, to be perfectly honest. It basically depends on your work schedule. So I work nights, so for me to get up at 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, not optimal for me. But it's not going to do, one's not really better than the other, so it's just basically your preference. After the first day, you go back the next day, weather permitting, and you add another 10 seconds. And you continue onward, adding 10 seconds every time. Now, I'm up to, like I said, and you'll see in this video, and hopefully the recorder won't stop. If it does, I apologize. I'll get as much as I can. I am currently up to 25 minutes, and you'll see that my eyes will not move. I will be staring directly at the sun for those 25 minutes. Now, for those of you who've never watched this before, I'm going to give you some background on my health. Some of you have watched these videos before. You may have already heard this information. I was one of those children that since I was a child, I had breathing problems. I had bronchial problems, I had asthma problems, I've had walking pneumonia ever since I was a baby. I've been in the hospital more times than I can imagine, and I was living on inhalers most of my life. Those of you who've watched my videos know that I've almost died from walking pneumonia about 5 times in my life. I wouldn't recommend it on my worst enemy. It is just a horrifying experience. I can recall the second to last time that happened was about 6 years ago. At the time, I didn't have my cell phone with me. I didn't have a regular phone anywhere near me, and I fell asleep on the couch. And all of a sudden, I started overnight getting this fever. I had no water, nothing. I was living alone at the time, so there was nobody in the house. And I ended up ultimately with about 105 temperature and could not get off the couch for 3 days straight. Now, if you've ever had asthma problems or walking pneumonia or pneumonia, you get a severe fever, you have sweats and chills at the same time, your breathing is constricted to the point where you're forcing air into your lungs, and the fever is basically burning brain cells. It's killing you. Now, for 3 days straight, I was stranded on the couch. I had no ability to even get up for food and water. And after the third day, I said to myself, if I don't get up and at least get water, I'm going to die on this couch. So I took whatever strength I could, got up, ran to the kitchen, grabbed as much water as I could, and ran to the couch and passed out for another day. That saved my life. Since that day, I've never had a day without my inhaler. As a matter of fact, I had an inhaler in my coat pocket, one in my car, and one wherever I was working, to always have one. Because my breathing problems were so bad that on a cold winter night, if I was indoors where it was very warm, if I were to walk outside and suddenly get hit by that cold, it would instantly shut down my lungs to the point where it was almost, the best way to describe it is like breathing through a straw. So when I say I've had breathing problems all of my life, I'm not kidding, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Now, why am I sun gazing? Well, I'm going to tell everybody straight off the bat, I didn't all of a sudden go on YouTube and hear one person say, oh, I sun gaze, you should do it, and I decided, oh, well, even though I was taught all my life that staring at the sun will make you go blind, one person said something, so I'm going to do it. It doesn't work that way. I follow a lot of different people. Santos Bonacci is a person I've been following for a long time. He started talking about how he sun gazes. I found another person, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but if you sun gazed before, you will know the name HRM, that's his initials he goes by. He's been one of the biggest leaders of sun gazing for decades. I've researched a lot of people that were actually filming themselves sun gazing, and I decided after a bunch of research, I'm going to switch hands again, that I was going to give it a try. And let me tell you something, it is the best thing I've ever done in my entire life. Some of the benefits I have noticed in the year, and of course it doesn't take a year for you to notice these things. I've noticed a appetite suppression. In other words, I don't get as hungry as often. I've found my mental aspect has changed dramatically the longer I do this. I'm not as angry as I used to be. I'm a lot calmer. I tend to think and reason about things a little bit easier. I'm not emotional. Depression is gone. And let me give you a little background about my depression years ago. From the year approximately about 2004 to about 2007 was probably one of the worst times in my life. And I was in an amazingly bad depression, to the point where, let's just say I was very close to even contemplating suicide. I won't get into the situations why, but I was at the point where I would work, and when I wasn't working, I would be in bed. So if I didn't work for 5 days, I wouldn't get out of bed for 5 days. So a lot of this is stuff for people to understand that I've been where some of you may be, with that depression, with that anger, with that frustration. I was at the point, literally, I wouldn't get out of bed for 5 days other than to go to the bathroom or to get something to eat. And as a matter of fact, my bed looked almost like a garbage bin because everything I ate just stayed on the bed with me. Okay, it got that bad. Any feelings of depression that I've even had at all have pretty much disappeared at this point. You feel more energy. I feel very awakened. I feel like I have cups of coffee. I feel at the same time a sense of calmness. Like, as you could see when I'm looking at the sun, you don't see me blinking. Not really too much. As a matter of fact, when I first started, because I start at the highest point of the sun gazing, which is about an hour before sunset, the beginning part is a little sensitive, but once you get used to it, it's just like looking at anything. As a matter of fact, if I was to look at a light bulb, I would really hurt my eyes and couldn't do it. So unfortunately, in this world, they've programmed us to stay away from these things, to stay away from nature. And I'll tell you why. Well, the medical field is a multi-trillion-dollar industry around the world. And why would they want you to find out that nature can cure you? Because you will notice, especially if you wear glasses, I do not, after the 15-minute mark, and usually before that you'll start noticing it anyway, you will no longer need your glasses or contacts. Your eyesight actually improves, despite how many people say that the sun damages your eyes. Again, at the first hour and last hour of sunrise and sunset, that is not the case. As you can see, my eyes are not burning. I'm not crying at tears all over the place. I'm not turning away. I'm looking directly at the sun, and I will continue to do so. So it actually will improve your eyesight to the point where if you have cataracts or some kind of vision problems, they will go away. Unfortunately, if you have any sort of blindness, not even being completely blind, if you have even what they say that a certain percentage of your vision is lost, you're considered legally blind. It can't cure that, unfortunately. But when it comes to your eyeglasses, you'll notice you won't need them anymore. So you'll notice if you do wear glasses, your prescription will go away and you won't need it. After about the 30-minute mark, it cures all of your illnesses. Now, I know that sounds too good to be true, and I know we've been told that anything easy means there's something wrong with it. Well, I'm not here to make anybody do anything. I'm showing living proof. And again, I'll show the sun. Hopefully you'll see that I'm not looking anywhere else, so I don't know if the camera is pointing at it or not. But you could still see that I am completely staring at the sun and I have not moved my eyes, because I want people to see that I don't talk about something unless I have done it or I've researched it. I don't get everything right, but this is something I have incredible amounts of passion with. Now, when it comes to illness, since I've been sun gazing, I have not been sick once. Now, that may not seem like a big deal to most people, but I have not gone, and I am 42 going on 43 in November, so I'm about halfway there to 43. I have never gone a year in my life where I haven't been sick at least once or twice, sometimes a lot more than that. So for me to go an entire year, especially over the winter, and not get sick once is amazing. And as a matter of fact, when I would sun gaze here in the wintertime, it would be extremely cold because there is no more dunes because of Hurricane Sandy, so there's nothing blocking the wind. And I would be by the water sun gazing with cold, freezing wind hitting me nonstop. And then I would have to walk back to my car in this loose sand in the freezing cold weather. And for the first time in my life, I didn't have an asthma attack. It was amazing. So I understand people are going to be told that these things are dangerous. Well, like anything, if done improperly, things can be dangerous. So if you look at the sun at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you will damage your eyes and you will go blind. If you do it at sunrise and sunset, you can see, as I am doing this, that it is not damaging my eyes. And I don't know how long I can do this before people can understand, well, that is not the case as far as damaging your eyes. Now, some people have said, I need to get a doctor's exam to prove it. Well, from the people who are skeptics, I've come to the conclusion that no matter what I provide, they will never believe it. So I'm not here to have to prove anything. I don't need to go to an eye doctor for me to know my eyes are fine and they've improved. So for those of you who are saying I need more and more proof, those are the people who are the skeptics who will never believe whatever I say anyway. So I'm not here to convince people. As you can see, I'm not making up a story. This is not edited. There's no special effects. I'm not just saying something just to say it. I'm here filming at the beach, sun gazing, nonstop for 25 minutes. And then I will add 10 seconds tomorrow, and so on and so forth. So like I was saying with the order, after 15 minutes, it cures your eye problems. After a half hour, it cures your medical problems. And at the 45-minute mark, you are officially done. You never have to sun gaze again for the rest of your life. You fully have charged your internal battery, and even your spiritual part of you has been healed and replenished. You have to think of your body like a living solar panel. There's no magic to this. There is no hocus pocus. There is no fantasy here. This is all about reality. And what this is telling you is that the sun is all natural. It is a healing element. And the body is nothing more than primarily water and electrical impulses. Now, of course, water has a great transparent, it's a good conductor, that's what I meant to say, of electricity. If you've ever grabbed onto a washer and dryer, grabbed it by a metal handle, and your feet were stuck in some water, you'll know that real quick. I found that out when I was like 7 years old. That was a fun experience. So when you have everything in your body basically triggered by electrical impulse through our nervous system, then you realize that the energy from the sun and the vitamin D it provides is doing nothing more than sending electrical light into the eye socket, traveling through the optical nerve, and basically charging your brain. That's all this is doing. So if you see how plants and flowers all bloom and blossom in the summertime, and how they all pretty much wilt and die in the wintertime, it shows that nature knows what the sun does. Now, man, being inherently corrupt, unfortunately, and inherently greedy, does not want you to know these things. And that's why if you go and look up sungazing on a mainstream website, or you read a mainstream book, they are going to tell you how bad it is. They're not going to tell you it's good. Why? Because it cures instead of treats, and it costs a total of $0 to look at the sun. Now, I've said this before and I'll say it again. They tried to demonize the Egyptian culture into making people believe that they prayed to the sun like it was an actual god. Why did they do that? Well, because that creates a form of taboo and makes you not want to research or learn anything about it, because then it's considered sacrilegious. So you stay away from it. There's techniques to keep people away from things. They did not think that the sun was an actual god. They saw the benefits that it provided, and they basically appreciated it. People saying that they worship the sun, it's almost as comparable as somebody who loves their brand new sports car that they bought, and they're showing it off and keeping it clean, and they spend nights just sitting in the seats. You know anybody that does that? Well, they, in a way, almost worship that car, but they're not saying the car is a god. They're just in love with the quality of that item. It's the same thing as looking at the sun and appreciating what nature can provide. Because nature provides everything that we need. It provides the water that we drink. It provides the air that we breathe. It provides the food growing from the ground that we can consume. It provides the warmth and the light. So is it any wonder that nature can also heal you? Because not for nothing, the people of the earth for thousands of years lived without Vicodin, without Tylenol, without acetaminophen, without all different types of medications. We've just been conditioned to believe that that's what we need to survive. Now, let me ask you this. Why is it then, with all these quote-unquote advances, why is it the world is more obese than ever, more unhealthy than ever, more depressed than ever? Does that make sense to you? Because if you ever notice, if you've gone a week or two where it's been nothing but raining, and you can't see the sun, and you can't get outside, you notice how people become grumpier or more depressed? And then when the sun comes out, people are more spiritually happy? There's a reason for that. So like I've said, I'm not doing this to have to prove anything. I'm doing this to show people the lie. Because if everything else is absolutely wrong or unproven at this point to you, I can already show you that I've disproven the theory that if you stare at the sun, you will go blind. Because here I am, for whatever amount of time period I'm at right now, I've been staring directly at the sun without moving my eyes, and I have no problems. And let me tell you something. I have such a calm feeling over myself right now. I feel very relaxed, but yet I feel very energetic. I feel like I could conquer the world. It's an amazing feeling getting back in touch with nature. And that's why I'm making this video. I know there are going to be people who don't like this. I know there are going to be people who will automatically dismiss it. Those are people I cannot help. But I want you guys to see that I am doing this to show people around the world that nature is not the scary thing that these corrupt politicians and all the other people who are trying to dump poison down your throat are telling you that the world is. If you want to live your life getting operations, getting radioactive treatments, getting all these things that don't cure you, they just treat a problem, so you spend all of your money on it, then by all means, please do so. For those of you who are looking into alternative ways of life, who are looking to find the cure that nature can provide, and you're tired of all the lies and the greed, then this might be something you might want to research further. And I commend anyone who actually will at least research it. But I will tell you this, if you ask a eye doctor, if you ask anybody, here's my 25 minutes is up, but if you ask any quote-unquote professional, they're going to tell you this is bad for you. Well, seeing is believing. Here is the sun right there. I don't know if this video is still recording. I hope it is, but that's my time. It has now been 25 minutes. Thank you for watching, guys, and I appreciate it every day. Peace and love to you all.